Hi, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Wellness Parenting Revolution Show. I'm Dr. Teri Warner, my husband, Dr. Stu Warner, and we want to welcome everyone here. We have another special guest with us today. Dr. Stu, want to welcome Dr.
We want to help turn the sickest generation of kids in the world into the healthiest, and we have somebody that sure wants to do that as well. A very special guest today, Dr. Ed Group. He founded a global healing center in 1998, which is world-renowned, which has helped countless people restore health. He has the largest natural and organic health resources in the entire world, and we would really appreciate your service, a veteran of the Army. He's gotten his education from MIT and Harvard and business, and he's an author. And, you know, he really focuses on, which is so important today, getting to the root cause of problems. And that's what, you know, we need to get to the fundamental causes. And he's a leading expert on that. His YouTube channel is blowing up. He's gotten over 25 million views, and you can see him all over radio and TV over the years, telling the truth about raising healthy families, maximizing, optimizing health and well-being. So we're so excited to have you today, Dr. Group.
Thanks a lot. That was a great introduction. Really, I'm just a regular guy who just cares a lot about people, cares a lot about kids, and got into this 25 years ago, kind of by mistake, but just trying to educate and be there to help as many people as we can.
So why don't you share a little bit about that journey that, you know, led you to where you are today so people can get to know you a little better?
Well, I was actually studying allopathic, and I was about to take my MCAT because I wanted to go into allopathic medicine, and I ended up meeting a guy at a dinner. This is how the universe works. It's just amazing. And he starts telling me about this research team he's putting together to determine the root cause of cancer and to evaluate all the natural cancer therapies that were around the world. And at the time, that was in around 1995. That's when MD Anderson and all the cancer hospitals were putting together their CAM programs, complementary alternative medicine programs. And so we got in an argument back and forth because I was brainwashed at the time and he wasn't. And he was saying, well, did you ever break down? I mean, you have this background in chemistry and biochemistry. Did you ever break down and look at how pharmaceuticals work in the body? And I was like, well, you know, we have the best scientists in the world doing that and blah, blah, blah. And so we left the dinner and I couldn't get that out of my head. So about 2 days later, I went to the library and I started breaking down biochemically and physiologically, you know, 2 or 3 or 4 different pharmaceuticals, as much research as I could find on it. And I was just, it took me probably about 6 hours only to do before I knew that there was a huge fraud going on, because it was like, this is not doing anything. This is just covering something up. It's changing the physiology. It's changing the biochemistry. You know, I was blown away to the point where I was literally crying in my car on the way home, because everything I had planned for had just gone out the window. And long story short, from the age of like 9, I was having a lot of spiritual experiences. So I've always been on a very spiritual journey. And the inside of the car turned completely white. I couldn't see in my, you know, I was crying because I didn't know what to do. And then all of a sudden, I just helped getting this message, you know, you can heal with the earth, you can heal with natural medicine, you can heal with your hands. And then my hands went back on the steering wheel and I was like 10 miles down on the highway, not even knowing, basically I wasn't even driving my car. So I told him, I found the guy and I said, teach me everything you know. I want to join your research team. And so that was in, that was in the mid 90s, and there was no internet. So you couldn't do research on any of this stuff. So we had to go to these underground cancer underground cancer conventions and, you know, meet discreetly with these cancer doctors from all over the world. And ended up getting on, we were working with Barry Lyons with Royal Raymond Rife in, you know, technology for a while. And then I ended up with like most of the stuff from his original lab, with his original lab manual. And then we worked with Tesla's research team at the time. And we, you know, basically we really gathered all the data And we knew that there were cures for every single disease available, and we knew the root cause of cancer. We knew the root cause of every single disease. And it was after all that research, which was about 2 years, we came to the conclusion that all disease and all negative health conditions, all symptoms are caused by two things. Number one, a toxic external environment. And that's anything outside of you, the people you hang around with, what you're watching on TV, the mold in your air conditioned vent, the memory foam mattress you're sleeping on, the air fresheners, anything that you're exposed to in your external environment that's going to have a negative effect on your spiritual, your physical, and your mental health. And then the second thing was internal toxicity. What are you putting in your system through the beverages and through the food that you eat, and even the stuff that comes in through the skin, like the toxic body care products and stuff like that. So long story short, we had all that, and nobody wanted to hear about it per se, and so we started getting that information out as much as we could, even though there wasn't any internet, and we were basically told to be quiet, told to shut up. We opened up a cancer and degenerative disease clinic in 1999. Within a year, we had like one of the best success rates with treating cancer and degenerative disease, but then we were raided by the FDA, almost thrown in jail. And so from that time forward, we've dedicated our lives and everything to educating people about the root cause of disease and how we can empower them to become their own healers, become their own doctors. And really the definition of a doctor, in my view, is a teacher, not a prescriber, and honestly help the kids and help the next generation that's coming out. So that's really what we focused on. And what we found was that during the disease process and talking to so many patients and counseling so many individuals, we basically came up with a 5-step system of teaching people how to heal themselves. And step number 1 is always education. And so what we realized, because we had people coming to us that had been seen by many of the other practitioners, natural health practitioners, people come to us, they've already been seen by 10 or 15 different doctors all the time, right? And what we learned is we would always ask them, okay, so can you explain to us why you have cancer? Or can you explain to us why you have diabetes? Or can you explain to us why you have heart disease? And we found that nobody knew why they had the condition that they had. So the first thing that we would do is we would say, tell us about yourself. Tell us about your life. Tell us about your condition. And we would spend like 2 hours or something with them. And that we found is such a powerful initial part of the healing process, because they would say, doctor, no one's ever listened to me. Like, I've been trying to tell this story to the last 5 doctors and no one has actually paid attention or heard me. And that's actually the issue that many people have in relationships and with their boss, their significant others, is that one person doesn't feel heard in the relationship, or one person doesn't feel listened to. And we saw a tremendous shift just in that moment of them finishing talking about everything that they had built up inside, the resentments, the fear, the anger, the jealousy, all of those negative emotions. And they just got that out. And you could see a shift happen already of hope and joy. And then we would say, are you ready to learn why you have the condition that you have? And then they would say yes. And so let us explain to you why you have cancer, why you have heart disease. And we would go over the top 50 toxins and things in the external environment and the internal environment. And then what we were doing that was different, which is nothing more than common sense and simplicity, is we would explain to them about all these things. And then the second thing we would do is the first part is education, getting all that out, explaining to them why they have the disease. Second thing is always starting with detoxification and cleansing. And so we know that all disease and all health begins in the gut. So the first thing we would do is teach them how to cleanse the gut properly and take care of the gut. The next thing we would do is go through the liver and gallbladder cleansing protocols to be able to get the liver functioning again really effectively. And the next thing we would do is take them through a parasite or a harmful organism cleanse, because every single disease is associated with an altered terrain, and it associated with a massive amounts of fungus and parasites and mold and everything else. And the last thing we would do is take them through a chemical and heavy metal cleanse. And what we noticed is just going through that process, their self-healing mechanism, which we told them, everybody has a self-healing mechanism, and your self-healing mechanism is more powerful than any medicine, anything else. What we're doing is teaching you how to reactivate your body's own self-healing mechanism, and it starts through detox. If your self-healing mechanism is suppressed because of all the toxic emotions and all the toxic compounds, then we're cleaning those up. And then your self-healing mechanism will kick back in and then start to function, and your body will start to heal itself.
That's you're preaching our song. That's so great. And what a tremendous protocol and service. And certainly starting with, and I so appreciate you saying, just starting with listening to the patient. Because you hit the nail on the head that so many people feel unheard, and patients go from clinic to clinic or different to the ER and to another doctor and in the hospital, and they're just shuffled, and they're shuffled like paperwork, and they need to fit into a little box, and if you don't fit in that box, we're going to stuff you in that box, and this is what we do, and this is how we do it, and that's all. And when that protocol doesn't work, they're meant to feel the bad guy. It's my fault that I'm not getting better. It's my fault. And so beautiful, just you laying that out, and how you take them through that natural cleansing. That's tremendous.
Dr. Group, there's so many people out there searching in so many places, for answers to their problems. And, they hear things and, maybe go to a supermarket or a Walgreens to get supplements, which really is very poor quality. And I have to tell you that we are so impressed with the formulations that you've developed and organic supplements that, you're getting what you're paying for. That's going to help transform your body. And I want to see if you can talk about some of them. We've actually been benefiting from our own family from these as too. I love the branding as well. It just reflects, the healing, feelings that you'd want to get. But this is quercetin is so important today because how it affects maybe zinc from getting into the cells. Can you speak about that for a minute?
Yeah, well, first of all, I'll just back up just to give everybody a little bit of a background. I'm a mad scientist when it comes to quality, and a little bit insane, because during the process that we found of the toxins coming in, we also found that there's a lot of toxins that are coming in through what you would think are good products, or let's say any over-the-counter supplements that you might find at a grocery store or a pharmacy. And the majority of people were on bags full of these things, and it was just clogging their system up, and it was making them worse. So I wanted to create the highest vibrational supplements. When we were working with Tesla's team, Tesla and Einstein both said, and I believe this, and I know you guys do too, that we're nothing more than energy. We're nothing more than vibrations. And if you want the answers to everything, you have to look at energy and vibration. So we started creating the, all organic, the best, the highest quality, the highest vibrational supplements. We use all glass vessels. We don't use any plastics, to the point where even if we need to scrape some herbs off of the glass, I had somebody go to the original Stonehenge quarry and get a block of the paramagnetic stone that they built Stonehenge out of and form me a custom scraper, so that when you're scraping the herbs, you're still putting up that positive energy into everything that you're doing. So, we play music and meditate and pray and all that stuff over everything, so we can really, make sure that people are getting the highest quality supplements that are out there and the highest vibrational supplements out there. And when you're talking about quercetin, I'll back up just a little bit too. I was one of the doctors that was chosen to be on the task force for the government, the COVID task force and the advisory board. And our job was to evaluate the frontline doctors all over the world and then report that what was working and report it back up. And that's when we really started looking at, no one really knew what quercetin was up until the pandemic was out there. And so we were looking at quercetin and HCQ and ivermectin and all these different things. And actually iodine, believe it or not, was one of the most effective things because we had such a stockpile that we submitted a 7-page paper on iodine's efficacy for any microbial infestation, including COVID. But that was what was used in the Spanish flu area as well. And so that's when we started really focusing in on, what are some of the things that people can do? And quercetin and zinc and vitamin D and iodine and supercharged C60 and things to that sort. So quercetin is actually an amazing zinc ionophore. It helps the zinc get transported into the cells. So does ivermectin, by the way. Ivermectin was founded by a Japanese scientist, and he found it in the soil. Most people don't realize that ivermectin is actually a soil-based secretion from a soil-based microorganism. And our microbiome is almost exactly like the soil should be. We should be very similar. If the soil is perfectly in balance, then our microbiome should be perfectly in balance if we eat things that are grown in that soil. And a long time ago, that's what would happen, and that we would naturally deworm ourselves because the ivermectin we would eat those soil-based organisms and they would secrete the ivermectin and replicate. Actually, it was called avermectin when it was discovered. And it's a natural product. And so that's why Big Pharma jumped on that so much. However, what's happened with the chemtrails and what's happened with the agricultural systems and the pesticides and the insecticides, we've killed off the ecosystem of the soil, which in turn doesn't provide us all of the good bacteria and the soil-based microorganisms that we need for our gut, which the gut is where all disease starts and all health begins. So it's very important to be able to take some of these things. Now we have to deworm ourselves, and now we have to get rid of all these microorganisms on a regular basis. But the quercetin was one of the things that we found that not only was efficient in providing the zinc into the cells, but it was also really a great product to use for opening up the airways and for lung health as well. And there's many other uses as far as immune strength and other things that the quercetin is really powerfully used for. So we put that as part of our program, because after we analyzed and our team knew that what we were submitting was not going anywhere, and we knew the whole plan way in advance anyway, but we thought it might be different under this administration. But there was a lot of internal workings going on, and we knew that the plan from Big Pharma and all the other stuff that was happening. So at that point in time, we started working clandestinely on an antidote for the what, and so quercetin is also a big part of recovering and repairing any type of damage that you might have from that situation.
Yeah, Dr. Group, so many people are taking lots of things out there, but maybe they're not absorbing them properly, or they're not taken in the proper way. And, it's like the Exacta here, you put the two of them together, quercetin and the zinc. But, your products are so bioavailable, so you're going to absorb it. So can you speak to that a little bit?
Yeah, so we actually developed a process called a glycerospheric nanotechnology process, and it doesn't use the same type of ultrasonic systems that most companies use when they say nano, because what that does is it puts titanium molecules into the products, and that's kind of something that nobody knows about, but we actually have been testing some of that stuff. What we did is we do everything cold process. So we don't want to lose or burn or radiate or damage any of the plant's constituents, the phytonutrients. starting with, first of all, making sure that we get the herbs or get the ingredients in the highest quality that we can. For example, most people might buy the $2 a pound milk thistle that's been sitting in China for 2 years. It's organic, but we would rather pay $18 a pound for our milk thistle, knowing that it's fresh, because we have some of the essential oils still in there. We have the full components of the plant. So for the liquids, it took us like 7 years to develop this processing, this cold processing and extraction method, to where we can take and infuse frequencies in it. We can infuse vortexes in it, a counterclockwise vortex, a clockwise vortex. We actually let it sit with frequencies and solfeggio tones for up to 9 days sometimes, or longer, so we can infuse that in. Another thing that we do that nobody else does is we use only triple distilled biophotonic water. So that is one of the most powerful forms of water there is, and that's what the alchemists would use. They would use the triple distilled water only. It has a good affinity for extraction, and it actually holds frequencies because it's a very powerful, highly energetic form of water. And then we take it through a system to infuse photons of light and structure the water to where it's in a perfect crystalline structure. So that's the base that we use. And we mix the herbs in there with a certified organic vegetable glycerin. And then we take that through that nanoglycerospheric process to where we can almost create a glycerin bubble around all of the herbal components. And that prevents the oxidation of a lot of things, and it also prevents the losing any of those phytonutrients or those really high-end products or constituents. And then we also use a kind of a secret blend of ormus vibrational minerals that we've worked with over the years, and that brings that ormus energy and that vibration back into the product. So I like to think that our products become stronger with age.
Dr. Group, I'm pretty familiar with the industry out there, and I think you've created a whole new stratosphere of standards for your supplements that don't exist anywhere else. And you have so many different ones, and we use them for our family. Your vitamin D3s, amazing, and you got vitamin C, and you got, everything that somebody would need. I'd recommend everybody go to globalhealing.com. What a resource that is. Go check it out, look into it. You can just hear, you can compare all you want, but nothing's going to meet these standards. And, you can't put a price on your health. You want to, and in your kids' health, you got to give them the best. So that's amazing. How many products do you have at this point?
We have about over 30 products. We just came out with our protein powder too, which is a plant-based protein powder, the first one in the world that's non-irradiated. Any company out there that's NSF certified, just letting everybody know, if it's NSF certified, they highly suggest you radiate your products coming in, the raw materials. And they don't require that, but they highly recommend it. And they do 100% of the time require you to X-ray and radiate all your products on the finished goods line. We went through NSF certification, paid them $85,000, and we passed with flying colors. And they told us those two things, and we basically kicked them out of the door and said, we'll never radiate our products. So, pay attention to the products you're getting. Also, I would say that 98% of all the nutraceutical companies and dietary supplement companies right now are owned by private equity companies and big pharma. You might not know that, but there's very, very few left that are family owned and operated. So it's another thing that you should look into if you're looking into supplements, because we don't cut costs. Just, we worry about quality first and always make sure that we have the best quality in line. And the protein powders are amazing. We put the enzymes in it to help break it down. And we also put the probiotics in there. And I will say there is one product that we carry that is Nikola Tesla's original product, and that's the Oxy powder. Most people don't know, but Tesla was very into health, and his dream was to create a product that would help the future of bowel disease. He saw into the future, and he saw that all disease was going to start in the gut. And he actually developed that product in 1898 with a guy named Dr. Eugene Bloss. And it's an incredible, incredible product. It's the only one that releases monatomic oxygen into your bowel, which, you know, cleans all the nooks and crannies of your small intestine and your large intestine, and does it in a very calm and peaceful manner, and provides oxygen and converts that solid matter into a liquid or gas, and produces those negative electrons, which will neutralize toxins and harmful organisms. So that's probably still one of my favorite products of all time.
Awesome. Well, I love the way you started off the interview talking about the internal environment and the external environment. And, you know, you have such a great depth and breadth of knowledge and understanding, expertise of how all of these things integrate in the congruency between it all. And, you know, can help get to everyone's root cause. There's going to be, you know, tens of thousands of people watching this all over the country. You know, we can literally spend hours talking to you, but we'll have to do a part 2 sometime. Do you have any other thoughts that you'd like to share with everyone before we have to end today?
Yeah, sure. I think everybody's been going through a really tough time over the last couple of years. I just would like everybody to know that this is actually a beautiful thing that's happening. This is a great awakening, and try to put as much love and energy and positive energy into it. Yes, there are, you know, we all resonate at different levels of awareness and different levels of consciousness, because we're all vibrations. And there's a large group of people that are vibrating at a very low frequency vibration. And then that's why they can't understand, you know, the way that we're thinking. And, you know, there are people that have been working on enlightenment and vibration for a long time. And it's very hard for us to understand how they can't see things. But this is a time that I feel we're all here together to really assist and hold people's hands and transition them through this awakening, and helping them recover from their health. There's going to be a lot of people that are going to be suffering adverse effects mentally, physically, spiritually, and emotionally. And so everybody watching, I'm sure you know somebody that might reach out to you that's in need. And we have the detoxification programs, but sometimes people just need a hand holding. There's nothing that wakes people up more than going through trauma or pain or suffering. You know, the people that we've interviewed that have, you know, stopped their or never had an addiction, that were addicted for years, and seen multiple people, whether it was alcohol or drugs or whatever, you know, sometimes they would say, I had to lose everything. I had to go through the most traumatic time in my life. I had to feel so much pain and feel so much suffering. And then something inside of me switched, something turned on, and I've never touched a drug ever again. To a certain degree, depending on where you are in your level of awareness and your level of consciousness, that's what we're going through right now. Everybody's going through different levels of pain or suffering or conscious awareness, or, you know, the raising of the consciousness of the planet. So we're all souls, and our souls are nothing but love. Okay. Like a soul cannot feel anger or hate or anything like that. That's the mind, the manipulation of the mind. So just know that, you know, we're all here to help as many people as we can, and keep that presence of love and keep that presence of positivity, bring that into the earth through meditation and through prayer and through helping people and with gratitude and positive emotional states.
Well, that was beautifully said. If we all keep that in mind, the world would be a better place. Thank you, Dr. Group, so much for joining us and for your insights today, for the products that you provide for people, and the love and caring and healing that you want to see for the world. We look forward to having you back one of these days soon. And remember, anyone that wants to get more information, go to globalhealing.com. You'll find that and find the supplements we were talking about, and just more knowledge. So thanks again for being here today. Thanks everybody for watching and for being a part of the Wellness Parenting Revolution, where our goal is to turn the 6th generation of kids into the healthiest. Thanks for being here today, and join us again real soon.
We'll see you next time, everyone. Bye-bye.